Hello, welcome to today's live. So, what's the subject for today? Well, I'm going to discuss how to prepare a business waiver, okay, and what's involved with that. So, I hope all of you are doing well today. And I want to let you know that before I get started, you can certainly ask whatever immigration questions you have. There is no immigration question on this planet regarding U.S. immigration law that you can ask me that I won't be able to answer. I don't say that from being arrogant. I say that from having 30 years of experience. Okay? That's the fact. And what will happen is after I'm done giving my description on the live and what I'm going to be talking about, I'll go back through all the people who joined. I'll see what questions there are. And then what I will do is I'll answer them one by one. So you don't have to repeat. Sometimes people will ask me a question. I won't answer in 5 minutes, and they'll ask me the exact same thing. And sometimes I'll even do it 3 times. And as I'm scrolling through the questions, I get the same thing over and over. So you don't have to do that. I will get to you. Be patient. But that's how it works. Okay? So, again, the purpose of the live today is the business waiver and how to prepare it. Okay? So it's important because in immigration law, waivers are a big part of coming in because, it seems the majority of people who want to come in have something going on in their record, whether it's criminal, whether it's health, whether it's medical, whether it's mental or emotional, whether it's financial, whatever it is, there's all kinds of ways that somebody can be inadmissible from coming in the U.S. Okay, that is a fact. And so the question is not to just fold down, roll over, and, fall asleep when you can't get in, is to determine if you qualify for a waiver. Okay? So I'm talking specifically in this live about how to prepare a business waiver. So we're going to, thank you. We're going to assume that the person who wants to come in is coming in on some type of business visa. And there's all kinds of business visas. I mean, we're talking alphabet soup. There's the E2 for treaty investors, the L1 for intercompany transferees, H1B for specialty occupation, O1 for extraordinary ability, H2 for temporary, H3 for training, J1. I mean, I'm not kidding when I say alphabet soup. Okay, there's a lot of different visas that people can come on for business. B1, temporary, contract negotiations, things like that. And you can't let it stop you from coming in because you're inadmissible, especially as a non-immigrant. So if the waiver can be done, you should do it. Now, I have a lot of people who contact me after the fact, and they did their 30 minutes of research on the internet, and I don't mean to be facetious here, but then they feel that they are an expert in immigration law. They've prepared to the best of their ability a business waiver, and certainly, and sure enough, it gets denied. And then they're surprised and they call me and go, but I followed everything that was on the internet that it said to do. Okay? Well, I have to think that in cases like that, if they broke their arm, would they go on the internet and read how to fix a broken arm and try to do that themselves too? Okay? I mean, just because, you can put words on paper, and just because you can submit something electronically, doesn't mean you've done it right. Doesn't mean you've done it persuasively. Doesn't mean you followed the law. Okay? The bottom line with a waiver is it's totally in the discretion of the officer. The officer doesn't have a legal obligation to say yes. The officer doesn't think that he or she will say yes when you walk in the door. In fact, it's the opposite. The officer thinks he or she will say no when you walk in the door, and you have to convince them otherwise. You have to convince them to say yes. And while this may seem obvious, doing 30 minutes of research on the internet and submitting it yourself is not the best idea. Okay, I'm not just trying to be self-serving here. It's just not the best idea. If you want a real chance of success, have someone who knows what they're doing, as in a qualified immigration attorney with 3 decades of experience. Do it. I mean, even if I had 0 experience, a lawyer has 7 years of continuing education and has passed the bar. I mean, there's quite a bit before they even can put lawyer at the end of their name, okay? But given that, the waiver itself, how it's prepared, is key to getting it approved. Okay, when you're doing something that's discretionary, meaning the officer can twiddle their thumbs and say no all they want, you really have to be persuasive. And what you think might be being persuasive and what is persuasive are 2 completely different things. Okay? I can tell you on average, when a client tells me what they want to put in and what they want to argue, I'm being truthful here. About 90% of what they say is either irrelevant or would hurt their case. Okay? So, how do you do it? How do you put together a good business waiver? Okay? Well, first things first, you have to be upright, honest about why you're inadmissible. Now, you don't have to, stew in the pot and, dwell on it for an hour, but you have to be honest about it. So if you committed a crime, fess it up. Okay? You can certainly do it in a manner that minimizes the impact of the crime without, going into detail. But then on the other hand, nobody's going to say that you committed misrepresentation and fraud because you didn't disclose it. Okay? You want to know how to get a business waiver denied real quick? Lie about why you're inadmissible. Don't tell the truth about why you need the waiver in the first place. Surefire guarantee train to denial. Okay? So, first things first, be honest, discuss what the grounds of inadmissibility are. Then, boom, change tracks, change grounds, and now you go to why the waiver should be granted. So, all in all, you can think of a waiver as a scale, like Lady Justice with the scale. The good is on one side and the bad is on the other. Okay, now I know I oversimplify this, but the bad will be why you're inadmissible. The crime, the health, whatever. The good is everything else, why it should be granted. So you have to go methodically in discussing why it should be granted. And I usually break that down. It varies a case by case, but I usually break that down into family hardships, economic hardships, medical hardships, financial hardships, and rehabilitation, and so forth. Okay? Letters of reference, things like that. So, each of those sections are coherently put together to give one further reason why the waiver should be granted. So, let's say I talk about the first thing I talked about, like family. Okay? So you discuss what U.S. citizens you have, relatives you have, what lawful permanent resident relatives you have, how many. You prove that they're actually your relatives, birth certificates and marriage documents and all that. And then you discuss if there's any hardships of any of your U.S. citizen relatives if you're not allowed, essentially, to come in. Okay, and there's all kinds of ways of doing that. It's very, very factually specific. That's why every waiver takes a considerable time to properly prepare. I mean, I have I have clients that sign up and then a week later they go, is it done? So after I stop laughing, I go, look, you have to be patient. Let us put it together. Let us make the arguments. Let us revise. Get it done, okay? So that's just one thing, okay? The family. Let's say rehabilitation, another. You might show that you committed the crime 20 years ago and you haven't done anything since. You might show that the crime was minimal, okay, comparatively speaking, that you were dumb and young type thing. Fess up to it. Another way to get a waiver denied is to start off the waiver by saying, I didn't do it. Okay? They don't want to hear that. They don't believe you, and they don't care. So just fess up to it. Okay? Even if you took the plea because you didn't want your cousin to go to jail, I mean, you can certainly say that, but you can say that without saying, I didn't do it. Okay? Take the blame. Okay? Show contrition. Show that you're sorry. And then show all the years that have passed since you committed the crime. And then you can show letters of reference from employers, teachers, friends. When you show it from family members, it doesn't carry a lot of weight. Because obviously the family member is going to say, you were wrongfully convicted. You're a great person. You've never done anything wrong. I mean, they're always going to say that. And so it doesn't carry a lot of weight. The less connected you are to the person as far as family, the more credible it will be. Okay? So that's that. I mean, I could go on with more detail, but the bottom line is you put it all together. You show why it should be granted. You show they're not a security risk. Again, it's a thing with a business waiver. The only way you absolutely... Oh, thank you. I like when people send me stuff. It's fun. The only way that you absolutely don't qualify for a business waiver is if you're a national security risk. So, if you're part of a terrorist group designated by the U.S. and you want a business waiver, that's going to be real hard. Okay? Not to say that there's not waivers for security risks as well, believe it or not. So anyways, that's the spiel on how to prepare a business waiver. Sum it up with, minimizing the bad and then expanding on the good, just a nice paragraph and why it should be granted and so forth. And then you have a good business waiver ready to rock and roll. Okay? All right. Let me go through the, scroll back to the top, and I will look and see if any questions we have, and I'll answer them. Okay? In this particular time, while I'm scrolling, I hope everybody is having a good week. I would say it's hump day, being Wednesday, but it's not. It's the day before. But you got something to look forward to, right? Okay, let's see. So we have a lot of people that joined. Just a minute. I just have to scroll until I get to where the questions start. This is usually the same. We have tons of people that joined, and then at some later point, people start asking questions. Oh, thanks, Hannah. By the way, you just got the #1 gifter badge. Congrats. Let's see. Just a minute. Don't worry, we're getting there. We're getting there. Patience, Patagon. Just scrolling through. I mean, we have lots of people that joined, and I know people are glued to the screen listening to me, and just don't have questions. Just joking. Okay. Just a minute. Just a minute. Okay. Okay, do you think we're going to go into World War III? I mean, I'm not a fortune teller. And had you asked that question before, Trump got elected to office, I would have laughed and said, how could you even possibly think that? But We do have the facts as they are today. And then Prime Minister Trudeau just stepped down yesterday. So it's not a good day for democracy, that's for sure. It's definitely not a good day. I'm hopeful. Well, I'll tell you what I'm hopeful of. I'm hopeful that democracy, at least in the U.S., will withstand the next 4 years. So I can tell you one thing for sure, at least on the immigration side. There'll be thousands of immigration attorneys fighting tooth and nail for 4 years. I mean, you know that the day he comes into office, there's probably going to be, within a month, 50 lawsuits that are filed because of what he does. Okay, that's just a fact. So it's just a matter of fighting and having enough people that believe in democracy to fight for it. Okay, it's when people give up and they just let the forces roll as they do that all the problems begin. So if you want to help here, just contact your congressional representative and tell them to fight for democracy. Okay, I mean, even if you're on the other side, not everybody's going to just hopefully go along with what's going to happen, and even on the other side will hopefully fight for justice and democracy, be that as what it is. Okay, so I gave you a very ambiguous answer, but that's what I feel at the time. Okay, next question. Denied under 212A3B, told to fix before applying again, national security, do you do them? Okay, so this is kind of humorous. I was talking, I'm talking about the business waiver, and then I said the only way you're ineligible for a business waiver is if you're a national security risk. And then I tell you that the national security risk is actually a waiver for that, and here's a question on this very subject. What a coincidence. So the answer is yes. I mean, my firm does do national security waivers. Those are more difficult to obtain in some respects not, because sometimes believe it or not, I've had cases where they're denied entry because they're deemed to be a national security risk because they ran their name through a database that matched another name that was deemed to be a terrorist. Okay, that the person that they were denying had no record, wasn't part of any terrorist group, didn't do anything wrong, was an upstanding citizen, but had a similar name only, and that's the reason for denial and based on national security risk. And that, of course, is not a valid basis to deny someone. Okay, that is a racist basis to deny someone. So, of course, we got that overturned and we got a nice waiver for that person. But it's all doable. I mean, I know I'm talking today about the business waiver and how to do that, but about the business waiver and how to do that, but about the business waiver and how to do that, but he went there and he's going to keep me updated. So we're good. All right. So there's similarities in preparing waivers. Okay. Obviously, they're not all the same. I mean, if you're inadmissible because you committed a crime, you don't prepare the waiver the same if you're, a national security risk. But the preparation is similar in that you have to look at why you're a national security risk, why they claim you're a national security risk. And then we have to argue the law, the facts, and do everything we can to put the justice on the other side, to make the scale heavier on the other side so it's granted. So the answer is yes, but the most important thing I need to find from you is why do they claim that you are a national security risk? Okay. All right. Know of anyone that does them? Me! I'm telling you, my firm does it. Okay. It's immigration. We do it. It's what happens when you're in business for 30 years. Okay. I hope everybody can hear me. I just had a note that popped up something about my microphone and an issue. So if you can't hear me, let me know. But I assume based on the questions you can hear me, because unless you're all reading lips, I'm talking about waivers. So what the heck's going on with my computer? Anyways, okay. Somebody asked me here, can you talk about divorce waivers? Well, I can. Divorce waivers are different. Okay, they're different. They're not an inadmissibility issue. Okay, you're not inadmissible because you're married, or you're not inadmissible because you're getting divorced. A divorce waiver is different in that you married someone, you're madly in love, and you got a conditional green card for 2 years, and then you need to file the petition to remove the conditional residency, but you got divorced. Okay, you've got divorced, and so therefore, what happens is you need to file the divorce waiver, and you need to prepare it in such a manner that shows that number one, the marriage was bona fide, was legitimate, okay, that you married for love, and then show why you're getting divorced or got divorced. Maybe your wife cheated on you. Maybe she doesn't want anything to do with you. Maybe she's abusing you. There's all kinds of reasons that you can show why the divorce happened that has nothing to do with immigration, okay? That has to do with your relationship and what went wrong, what went downhill, okay? You could have got married, started living together, and all of a sudden your spouse was a completely different person, okay? Who knows? And once it's submitted, if it, goes on, then you're able to proceed forward and go from there. Okay. Let's see what other questions we have here. Thanks for the gift. Thanks for the heart. Okay. Whoops. Oh, shoot.
I think you invite me, Doctor. I'm glad.
Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I mean, not that I don't want to invite you, but
You want me to get off?
Yeah, talk to me after, okay? Send me your questions after, okay?
Okay, my question is about my husband.
Thank you.
Para
Bye. Okay, so that's what happens when you accidentally press the wrong button. So I mean, I don't mind. I can answer anything, but I like to answer the questions that are listed on here first. Okay, so you're saying that this guy says there's no subsection, and that they say there's no waiver for this section. Well, that's not entirely true. And first of all, we need to know why they said it. So you need to send me the information. I'll help you out, let you know what can be done. Okay, phone number to check my case asylum. I'm in New York. Well, it depends when you filed for asylum. The way it is, it's last in, first out now. So you might have applied 2 years ago, and people who applied way later and are getting interviews. So it's not a matter of checking. You're not going to be able to call and find out where you are in line. That's not how it works. But if enough time passes where they haven't called you and you have a really good case, you can file a writ of mandate, sue immigration to force them to make a decision to do their administrative duty. Okay. Hi, glad to see you. Well, glad to see you too. I'm glad you're listening. My green card was lost. My citizenship interview coming up. Any advice? You don't need to physically have your green card to apply for citizenship. Believe me, they will have the records. They will know how you got your green card, when you got it, and they'll know if you got it by fraud or by any other means. You need to be much more clear as to whether or not you qualify for citizenship. Not having your physical green card is the smallest part of it. I always make sure that there's no other issues, because sometimes people file for citizenship and next thing you know, they're fighting for their case. Okay. Oh, I gotta go. Okay. Talk to you guys later.